Very much for coming tonight. I'm Ed Cozza. I want to thank my friends at my neighborhood wine store, not mine as in I own it, mine as in that I've been shopping here since they opened, and it's been one of my dreams to live close enough to my wine store that if I have to walk home, I can. That would never happen, but just in case, I can. And Whitney has been so supportive on this and having this thing tonight. I really appreciate her doing that. Round of applause for the folks. The regulars and the neighborhood folks here, you know all about this place, but there's other folks here that haven't been here, and you need to come back. And of course, you buying books tonight, and I don't think one or two is enough. You need to buy a couple more books. But you need to buy some wine because they've got wonderful wine out here. And they didn't tell me to say that. I just like to come in here and just look and watch. In fact, I'd like a glass of wine, right now. I'd like a glass of Lucia if I could, please. So I haven't had any, and I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. But anyway, so they were kind enough to let me come and do this at my neighborhood store here. Mine being, I like to come here, not I own it. But thank you all for coming. This has been a lot of fun. Doing this book, we've been doing a little tour around the country. I was just in those funny stickers on the front. I know you think I pulled them off a bottle of wine, but I didn't. I thought about it, but I didn't. And just picked up an award in New York last week, so that's hot up. Thank you very much. And I'm sure there was some foul up in the judging, but I wasn't gonna ask them how they came to that conclusion. But and then there was another. The other one is another group, the Beverly Hills Book Awards. We got 3 awards from them. So I've been very fortunate, very blessed in the project. My friends that helped me launch this, my friend Adrian's here from Warwick's bookstore in La Jolla. They've been so supportive all along. If you haven't been to Warwick's bookstore in La Jolla, you better get down there. You might not have time to get there tonight, but you go there tomorrow. They've been so supportive, from asking all my stupid questions to I buy all my pens, all my paper, everything there. Support your local bookstore. However you get your books is okay by me, as long as you buy one. But support your local bookstore because they're the only local bookstore. So they've been a huge supporter for me, and it's been a lot of fun. In my travels and what I've done in the book, I traveled a lot, and I would just be spending a lot of time alone and looking at people and saying, they seem to be lonely like I am, and so I would listen to what they say, and it would resonate with me, and I would make a note. And the more that I edited the book, and the more that I wrote and rewrote and rewrote and rewrote and rewrote, it more came out than I thought. There was a distillation process, and what better place to talk about distillation than a place that has distilled things, but I wanted to what I saw in the travels and in the writing was that people had more electronics at their disposal than they ever had, so they could keep in touch with everybody. Fudgy's here. Thank you for coming. They could keep in touch with everybody better than they ever could because they had a computer and they had a telephone and they had text messaging and they had Skype and they had everything, and they weren't talking to anybody. It's all like this. It's all like this. And instead of calling and saying, hey, it's your birthday, Reed, man, how are you doing? You get a text. Well, that's better than not thinking of me at all. But, but you say, man, I told a buddy of mine the other day, I said, I'd love you to pieces, but if we're very good friends, I need to talk to you once in a while. And so what I found was that the people out on the road, they were all doing these things, and they're all sitting there watching this while the world's going by. And I said, well, this isn't right. I'm not telling you to throw your phones and your computers in the trash. I'm just saying that should free up your time to be able to call your friends or get in the car or get on the plane and go see your friends and go talk to them. Because connecting with your friends and your loved ones and that I think is very important. And a theme that's in our little tour that we've been talking about is unplug and connect. That in the time it takes to get on your computer and get on Facebook and send that message you could have called and said, Julie, how are you doing? So I'm trying to, and I didn't even put a cell phone in until, well, I won't tell you that part. So I'm not telling you to throw your devices away. All I'm saying is that those devices are supposed to free you up to give you more time to read, to talk to your friends, to get together with people. And a great compliment that I got from a friend of mine says, I don't read. I don't read at all. He says, but I read your book. And he says, now I'm reading books again. And that was a great compliment. And if I can do one thing, it's to get people reading books. It's great that he read mine, and it's even better that he's reading others. So that's just something that when I'm talking around the country, we've been to San Francisco and we've been to Dallas. We're going to Colorado tomorrow, and some of the places that we've been is just talking to people and saying, man, slow down. Tell that person that you haven't seen in forever, how are you doing? How have you been? Let's get together, and hopefully you don't have to, put it on Meeting Maker 10 months from now, that you can still get together and do it. So that's kind of been the message, and I'm finding that in my talks with people around the country that a lot of people are feeling the same way. I don't know the studies, but I've heard about some studies that are saying that people are feeling more disconnected with all these devices. So if you read a book, or if you come listen to a short guy with a glass of wine talk to you about reconnecting with your friends and your loved ones, if you don't take anything else, well, you should take more than that away. You should take some wine away with you here. Whitney prefers that you pay for it before you go, but she's got cases and sacks and people that will help you out the door. The first three, the Lully, Rosé, Chardonnay, and Pinot Noir, and the Lucia, I picked because they're all made by friends of mine, the Pisoni family up in Monterey County, and I think they make the best wine in the world. And so we, of course, I chose those wines to here because they were a family that I met some years ago, and they've treated me like family, and it was just over sitting and talking with people, just saying, hey, let's have a glass of wine. And now Gary Pisoni calls me from Italy, and he calls me from wherever in the world he is. He calls and he says, hey, Pinot Dog, what are you doing? And he says, are you drinking wine? And I said, well, not yet, but I'm going to open some up. And not just knowing the people and having the wine, but knowing somebody who takes such pride and has such passion for what they do makes me want to be better at what I do. So that's why I chose to share this with you tonight. Is it any good? I haven't.
Yeah.
That is really good. Does anyone have a book that I can read? Excuse me. Let's see. Let's see if I can find a page in here that might be something you like. Page 70. Rex was having a great time. He had only been here for a few hours, and he had seen his old friends together for the first time in forever, and now he was with two beautiful women who were paying a considerable amount of attention to him. Did I write that? He didn't care about their motivations. They weren't going to beat him at chess, so he really didn't care. He figured if they could outsmart him, maybe they deserved his money, but he wasn't that sloppy. He didn't care. It was fun. And now someone was sending him drinks for a change, so he wasn't shy about accepting. This was as light as his life has been in a long time. He was back where he liked to be, with friends and holding court with people who weren't going to do him any harm. He held up the recently delivered libations. Compliments of your new girlfriend. Come get yours, Rex shouted. Grant shook his head and went back to swimming. Rex continued to try to engage Grant in conversation while he was swimming, which only made the noise level rise. Grant knew his swim was over. Moll and Mag wanted to know why they were not included in the libation guest list, but their concern was short-lived as Rex offered to take care of their drinks poolside. The noise level continued to rise, and Rex was clearly taking great pleasure in contributing to the volume. It won't kill you to have a drink with us, Rex said. It might, Grant replied. No way, we're harmless, said one of the women. Yeah, harmless, said the other. I doubt that's possible considering who you're with, Grant responded. The two girls pleaded with Grant to stay, batting their eyes and flashing perfectly bronzed legs at him. Look, I don't want to be rude, but I need to be somewhere, Grant said. We all have some place to go, Rex said pointedly. We got places to be too, Marl said. We sure do, Mag followed. That's the spirit, Rex said. Okay, we all have places to be. I just need to make sure I do this right. Or that I get ready in time. In time for what? Marl asked. Are you going somewhere? Mag asked. Grant turned to look at Rex. His look suggested he badly wanted to punch him in the chest and throw him in the pool, but chose to say nothing. Rex said you were nice, Marl said, with a smile that indicated she thought he was probably a lot more than just nice. Real nice, Mag added. It was obvious who the leader in their little duo was. Grant did not turn his stare away from Rex. Rex realized his own safety was no longer a guarantee. You got a bad case of the jitters, Chief. Get out of here and go get ready to meet the love of your life. Grant moved slowly, still not taking his eyes off of Rex, no longer hearing the girls. He would not be deterred from getting back to get cleaned up for meeting Annie later. The intellectual gap between Rex and his two new lady friends was impossible not to notice. Rex was extremely well educated, although they didn't have any bearing on his social manners, and the women were not at all, which somehow always seemed to be part of the formula with Rex. Not one to seem snobby, Grant relaxed, ever so slightly, thinking it funny that though they certainly never won any scholarships, they probably did win a few beauty contests. Give credit where credit is due, he said as he left the table. Again, the desert air felt good as he walked. It always felt good to him, and he missed the hot, arid climate. It was not unlike the feeling he had of being with Annie. It was the feeling of something he had loved once upon a time, and he wondered why he had ever let it get away from him in the first place. He again entered the hotel, and the frigid air-conditioned interior knocked him upside the head. He was still wet and now freezing, and he took a moment to wonder why the thermostat was turned down to a cool 63 degrees when all the hotel patrons were dressed for 95. He made it back to his room and now felt very tired. The wine part. He noticed a bottle of red wine on the table. He felt pretty certain that it hadn't been there earlier, but he couldn't be completely sure about anything right now. Red wine. Santa Lucia Highlands, Pinot Noir. He scratched his head, looking around as if someone would be watching. He started to open the bottle, now noticing the flowers in the room that were also not there earlier. He went ahead and accepted the generosity and cranked a bottle opener into the cork. The sharp pop of the bottle startled him. He poured himself a glass and looked out the balcony door towards the mountains. He shook his head, managing a half smile. He opened the sliding glass door and walked out on the balcony, relishing the sun and the warm, dry desert air. He raised his glass in a toast toward the mountains, towards the sun, and he stood there contentedly thinking of nothing. He blocked pieces of his past that were trying to invade his thoughts, to replace the calm view of those peaks as they began to throw their blanketed shadow over the Coachella Valley. The heat from the sun felt good against his wet hair and skin. He set down his glass, and the light refracted in violet maroon through its contents. He looked back to the desert hills, the mountains above, and the impending setting sunset. He had to drink it all in now. There was too much beauty here to ignore. Thank you. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Please enjoy your wine. Buy some wine on the way out, and I'll be around if you have questions to ask or would like to ask any questions. I'll be around signing books. But thank you, and here's to all of you. Thank you. Salute.
Go ahead.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did I sign your book?
Yeah, I'd love that. I don't have a
Whoop.
pen.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I can't wait to read your book.
Well,